So we're going to focus on two different categories of recruiting. The first is candidate matching automation. So to understand what that is, let's first consider the problem. So how do you match candidates to job orders? You got a job order from your client, a job rec. How can you match the candidates to job orders in seconds without any human intervention whatsoever? Solution? Use AI-based candidate matching system to quickly find candidates whose resumes match your job. Now, before we go into further what these systems do, I want to mention, if you look at the ASA ecosystem of software vendors, these systems, software vendors that provide these solutions, are found under the matching systems tile. There's 14 of them listed here. Okay, so what do these systems do? Well, they automatically parse job descriptions that you upload to these systems. They say they do it in seconds, and they find matching resumes. So they parse out the experience, the required skills, the desired skills, the educational requirements, other factors, and they instantaneously find matching candidates. They also provide or have ranking algorithms that use AI to match candidates to jobs. They have different fit scores that they use in doing that. And because AI is involved, recruiters are also able to teach the system to refine the matching algorithm. So when the recruiter actually tells the system which candidate they selected for the job, which resumes they selected to send to the client, over time, these systems become better at providing matching candidates. They also allow recruiters to manually weight different search criteria like the skills, the job title, or the industry classification. The primary focus of these systems is on candidates' resumes in your ATS. So to utilize these systems, basically what you have to do is you have to allow an upload of your resumes in your ATS to the cloud of these vendors for these algorithms to parse the resumes from your ATS. And lastly, they're able to distinguish between the same position in different industries, which is kind of interesting because it's assumed that, say, for instance, a sales or a finance director in the manufacturing space is different from a finance director in healthcare. Perhaps would have different skills, different software experience required. What are the benefits of AI in matching candidates? Well, number one, they're able to infer which skills a candidate has even if they're not on the resume of a candidate or in the application, because these systems, because they're looking at millions upon millions of resumes, they note that for a particular job description or job title, they know what skills that person is supposed to have. Also, because artificial intelligence is involved in machine learning, these systems improve over time the more data you provide them from your company. Also, they remove unconscious or subconscious bias from the hiring process because basically we're talking about robots. They don't look at candidate names, addresses, or zip codes. They simply look at raw data connected with skills, job titles, education, so on and so forth. And lastly, they allow recruiters to focus on a short list of candidates provided by the search algorithm because these systems primarily are involved in the sourcing aspect of recruiting. So they allow the further vetting or interviewing to be handled either by a human recruiter or an automated bot. We'll get into that later. Okay, let's look at an example of one of these. This is a relatively new company called Restless Bandit, been out for a year or so. And this is an example of a job description that they have allowed to be uploaded into their system. Standard job description, we know they come in all shapes and sizes and formats, very unstructured data. So they parse the job description, the skills, the experience required, the education required, and instantaneously they provide you matching candidates. Now you can see that they have 3 grade levels for the candidates. They have gold candidates, the highest ranking candidates that fit that job, silver, and then bronze. And then in the screenshot here, you see those 3 lines next to the gold medals. Those indicate the weighting criteria that you can adjust to provide better results. You can weight better on the job title, better on the skills, or maybe better on the industry classification. And instantaneously, your list, your selection of gold, silver, and bronze candidates will adjust according to the weighting that you select. This is their jobs dashboard, which shows you the number of matches for each category, how many gold candidates you have for say for instance a web operations engineer, how many silver and how many bronze, as well as how many applicants have been contacted by the system. So to facilitate that outreach, they also provide you email templates that you can configure to reach out to your candidates. So let's see a live demo of Restless Bandit. Let's play the video.
Restless Bandit is an automated talent rediscovery platform that matches the best latent talent inside one's talent universe against your open job requisitions.
Well, this is a great video, right?
Restless Bandit works through Greenhouse through the Harvest and Jobs API to mirror the exact recruiters, roles and rights that they would see in Greenhouse inside of Restless Bandit. Meaning that on the left-hand side here would be all of the recruiters' jobs that are assigned to them. If they were an admin, they would have full access to all the roles and rights. One can do a quick search to get down to a specific position. By selecting the job, in real time, we will pull over the requisition from Greenhouse, evaluate the entire pool of data that they have inside of Greenhouse, and deliver a number of matches. Through data science and machine learning algorithms, we will stack rank the list of candidates based off of grade and fit, gold, silver, and bronze, in which align with their competencies in blue, title in green, and industry association knowledge in purple. The algorithm will pick up on hiring trends and patterns as it relates to disposition statuses and actually surface people most like those that the company will hire internally. However, a recruiter can override the facets at any given time, and the list will dynamically shift based upon their preferences, whether that be competency or perhaps ranking title more than industry association knowledge and skills. As you can see, this list dynamically changes, and then it's very much like LinkedIn Recruiter functionality, in which you can do mass actions in candidates, whether that be employer-branded templates or getting them into a subset of pipelining via a folder, which just works like the notion of projects inside of LinkedIn Recruiter. If you wanted to get a bit more surgical, you can then select finite groups of candidates, do candidate comparison, while always understanding the last contact and status that the candidate left off of inside of Greenhouse. For instance, if you want to get very specific, you can then jump into a holistic candidate profile, understand that exact information, skills extraction, education, and any other positions the candidate may be a fit for, as well as view their parsed resume or download the original and communicate in one-off communications or pipeline as well. Going back to the job, recruiters will have the functionality to facet and get very granular in what they're looking for, whether that be looking at candidates who worked at specific companies, for example, with X years of experience or a specific degree, and create a shortcut to an even shorter list of qualified candidates based off their parameters, as well as facets that they can align by priority and take those same actions. We also have the ability to do holistic Boolean search across the entire database with the same functionality. So for example, if someone was looking for an engineer, and C++ as a skill set, we'd be able to align a Boolean string, infer heavily on skills or title that would be along with that skill set, and then facet the same way and save this search into a one-click search view and revisit that at any given time as new candidates that are dispositioned fit the mold of that candidate. You can also visit your folders inside the platform and collaborate with other colleagues inside Greenhouse.
Okay, very good. So look at the next screen. So that was Restless Bandit. By the way, when they mentioned Greenhouse, that obviously is an ATS that they integrate with. So the next software is Avrio AI, another candidate automated matching system. So this is an example of a candidate shortlist after a job description has been uploaded to their system. It provides a automated return of candidates that match. They have a fit score based on a scale of 0 to 100 based on their proprietary algorithm. Now, Avrio also has something interesting. They have a candidate scorecard. So for every matching candidate that's returned on that list, you can click on the candidate's name, and they're going to show you exactly why that candidate matched the job description. So you see the little green check marks there. Those correspond to the features or properties on the job description that this candidate matched. And this is something you can obviously send to a client to show how that candidate matched their job description. Also on the right, they have other jobs that this candidate is matched for, also showing their fit score. Another interesting that they have is a whole screening platform using a chatbot interview module. This allows candidates to have the ability to accept the interview directly from Avrio AI, reject the interview, or request another interviewing method, such as a phone call from a recruiter. Also interesting about their candidate conversation through this chatbot interview, and we're going to get further into this a little later, but there's two ways that they do it. First, they can allow you to have an automated interview from a chatbot via Avrio AI's AI built-in chatbot, or you can see on the right there, the recruiter can actually type in specific questions, screening questions that they want answered by the candidate, and the system will record the result. So let's look at an example of a demo of Avrio AI.
So here is their Avrio desktop. We set it up per recruiter so that they can only see the jobs that they are working on. We share candidates across the database, so it's not just assigned to recruiters. How we tap into systems is via an API, so that accounts for real-time push and pull of data. As you can see here on the screen, the candidates are stack ranked for the job, best to worst with their fit scores. And we provide some insight in terms of how the candidate is or is not a fit for that particular job. We identify missing skills, we identify matching skills. We actually create scorecards for every candidate so you can see in great detail exactly where they are or are not a fit. We provide some recruiter functions within the platform as well, so you can see the resume, for instance, down the copy, and then we also provide a transcript for the candidate and bot to show you exactly what was said during that conversation. Now again, it's contextual, it's dynamic, it can reach out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Basically, there's nothing for the human to do to trigger that interaction in terms of the bot reaching out to the candidates. They go through the normal workflow of just opening a rec within your ATS, and we take it from there. So again, we'll go through, we'll do some general pre-qualification questions, availability, work authorization, compensation expectations. We'll also go through and start diving into their skills. So we'll understand required skills and try to identify proficiency. We'll try to identify missing skills by doing some, say, fuzzy matching. And again, if we do identify missing skills, we will enrich that candidate profile with that information. Now, depending on how the candidate answers questions, they can actually improve or reduce the fit score. So again, if it's skills related, and maybe we identify some missing skills, or even quantify some proficiency in required skills, it can actually make the score go up or down. We also close the loop in the sense that we don't want the recruiter to toggle between different systems. So because of that integration via the API to the ATS or CRM, you can directly advance or reject the candidate from within our platform, and that will update the system of record with that information. So for us, it's again by
Okay, so that was Avrio AI. We looked at Restless Bandit. Here are a couple, three more that are very popular in this space. AI candidate matching systems, TextKernel, Brilliant, and HiredScore among the 14 in that tile that we looked at. Okay, let's move on to our next section, which is actually a very fascinating section, AI chatbots. So let's look at the problem first. How do you reach out, if you're like us, to the thousands of applicants that come into your ATS or respond to your job posts annually and screen them effectively? So you got two options. You can have a human recruiter contact them, or you can use an AI chatbot. Before we get into how AI chatbots work, we want to mention the tile to look for in the ASA ecosystem of software vendors is bots. Okay, so what do AI chatbots do? Let's look at an overview. So the first thing they do is they use natural language processing, NLP, when responding to questions from the candidates. So what that means is they pull out, these systems are able to pull out the nouns and the verbs, the subjects and the predicates from specific sentences and understand them and respond with an appropriate answer. They're also able to respond to open-ended questions, questions that don't necessarily require a yes or no answer. Some of these systems are actually able to screen candidates, including passive candidates, by matching them to available jobs. So some of these systems, like the previous two software solutions we looked at, allow you to actually upload your job description. They'll parse the job description and have the AI chatbot ask questions about the required skills in that job description of the candidate, all automatically, no human intervention whatsoever. They're also able to schedule interviews automatically if someone is deemed a fit for the job. They provide multilingual support in many cases. And because everything is tracked with the activity of these bots, they provide comprehensive analytics of all the recruiting, screening, and interview scheduling activities performed by the bots. So let's look at one, and that would be Maya. So Maya obviously has this natural language processing, able to respond to open-ended questions. Also, it is able to interpret typos and misspellings. You can kind of see somewhat an example of that in this conversation. So Maya is endeavoring to ask a question of the candidate requiring a yes or no answer. The person doesn't answer yes or no. They answer sure. Maya is able to interpret that as an affirmative answer. Also, and this is really fascinating. Now, think about this. For passive candidates in your ATS, if you guys are like us, you perhaps have thousands of passive candidates in your ATS. We have hundreds of thousands, right? That many times you haven't contacted these candidates in 5 years, right? So in that span of 5 years, they may have gone to college, got a degree, obviously worked in different places, acquired different skills. How do you know, instead of going out to the job boards to recruit new candidates, how do you know if you have candidates in your system right now that match the jobs that you have available from your clients? Well, why not have a bot like Maya scan those hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands or even millions of candidates, record their skills, and write them back to your ATS so you'll have their real-time data available to searches. Pretty fascinating feature. This is an example of how Maya is able to determine work preferences. So this is here in the example, Maya is asking a candidate which shift they prefer. Do they prefer first, second, or third? What's interesting about this conversation here, typically a lot of these systems ask the candidate multiple choice questions. Do you want A, B, or C? The candidate went off script. The candidate didn't answer with an A, B, or C. They simply said, I want first and second. It works fine for me. Maya is able to understand that. They also schedule interviews when the candidate is deemed a good fit directly to the recruiter's calendar or to a team calendar for the recruiting team. In addition to that, they can provide tips and reminders and notifications and can handle all cancellations of interviews and reschedule the interview. So let's also look here at a case study. This is really fascinating. So this is one of Maya's clients. They have a customer whose goal was to place 14,000 associates annually. So the left represents the previous steps with human beings. So humans had to make 56,000 phone calls, schedule 31,000 interviews. Their screen completion rate was 37%. It took them 1 to 2 weeks to do the interviews. They had a 10-to-1 applicant to hire ratio and an 8.7 satisfaction score. After Maya, the first 2 steps are automated. Maya handled that automatically. They had a 90.5 compared to the 37%, 90.5 screen completion rate. The interviews were scheduled in less than 72 hours. They had a 4.1 applicant to hire ratio and a 9.8 satisfaction score. Clearly a wonderful case of the usefulness of a AI chatbot in this situation. Here's another example. This is from one of their clients. Before Maya, to reach out and connect with 1,000 passive candidates, it took us 10 full-time recruiters 5 days to do so. Maya delivered the same results in 11 minutes. Isn't it amazing when you think about it? Now, to see an example of that in a live demo, let's look at a video of Maya.
Maya is your team's AI recruiting assistant, designed to engage, screen, and schedule qualified candidates so recruiters can spend more time with the talent most likely to succeed. Job seekers instantly engage with Maya through natural conversation, rather than filling out a long-form application and waiting for acknowledgement before moving forward. With Maya, candidates avoid the black hole, accelerate their application process, and have an advocate to answer any questions along the way. Maya can quickly determine past experience and interest level and ask questions around requirements for the role applied to. Using natural language, Maya builds trust and confidence with candidates, resulting in deeper insights. In addition, Maya's personality is configurable to match your team's preferred tone and brand voice. Maya is continuously understanding candidate responses and guides the conversation based on qualifications uncovered along the way. If candidates are interested and choose to proceed, Maya can provide further detail while measuring interest level. Unlike basic bots, Maya understands the intent of the candidate in colloquial phrases, such as slang, acronyms, and affirmative phrases like "that's no problem." Maya has advanced natural language understanding capabilities, so can ask open-ended questions, comprehend verbose responses, allow candidates to express their value, and move conversations forward based on discovered context. Maya can easily answer questions that come up along the way, have side conversations, and seamlessly continue the qualification process by guiding the candidate back to the question at hand. Based on hard and soft requirements, such as salary, location preferences, shift availability, and availability for overtime, Maya is able to shortlist and rank candidates for recruiters, sell the role further, and quickly schedule the best fit candidates directly onto a recruiter's calendar. Maya provides candidates with a constant point of contact, a resource to ask questions around culture and dress code, can easily manage calendar scheduling, rescheduling, and cancellations, and move through the process from applicant to hire.
Okay, so that was Maya. Obviously some pretty impressive artificial intelligence going on here. Now, an equally impressive product is Alio, another AI chatbot. So Alio, like Maya, can screen applicants for jobs, can respond or can schedule interviews with them when they're screened as a good fit, and can also answer open-ended questions. But in addition to that, Maya can do some other things. Maya can provide smart reminders to your candidates. Here's an example of Maya responding a candidate of an interview that they have. Interestingly, the candidate says, well, I need to reschedule. Maya is able to interpret that. Maya can also do post-interview follow-ups with the candidate and extend offers to candidates that are fit for the job. They can also perform post-hire check-ins on candidates after a certain period of time. And the right screen also is very interesting. Think about this. Maya can actually be your customer service agent in your staffing firm. Here's an example of a candidate asking about the company's 401k portal. Maya understands that question and proceeds to lead the candidate to the employer's portal. So again, think about your own companies, your own staffing companies, and how many of the same questions your recruiters get every single week. Questions about payroll, pay stubs, whatever. It's very time consuming for your employees to answer those questions. Probably burdensome if it's the same question over and over again. Perhaps this is a candidate for a chatbot to handle. And this is interesting too. Maya is actually able to collect employee referrals. So here's an example, Alio rather, is able to collect employee referrals. So Alio actually is asking a candidate about a barista job. Now, it's not appropriate for the candidate, but Maya's asking, do you know anybody that you can refer to for this job? And when the person responds, Maya is able to reach out to that person, screen them for the job, perhaps even ask them if they're not fit, if they have any other individuals in mind for the job, and continue the process. So it's able to optimize your employer referral program as a result. Now, I'm going to go through a couple of these very quickly. So, as I mentioned at the outset, both of these systems, Maya and Alio, are able to track an extensive amount of data. All the activity of these bots is tracked. Every question they ask, every answer they receive. And because of that, they have an enormous amount of data that they can provide. So this is an applicant tracker dashboard. They have an interview tracker to show which interviews the bot has scheduled, a requisition status dashboard, an interview availability dashboard to show which recruiters are available to accept automated interview scheduling from the bot, and a dashboard that is basically an overall analytics dashboard that shows how many applicants have been reached out to. What is the best method? What has been the best method to contact the person? Has it been an SMS message or perhaps one of their email or web-based chats? And also to show which roles or locations are more popular. So let's look at an example of Alio in a live demo. So there's no, I'll sort of navigate this a little bit. There's no talking, just elevator music here. So you can see very similar chatbot interface. So this is interesting. Asks the candidate about the job, provides a multiple choice selection, 1, 2, or 3. The candidate goes off script and asks something different, and Maya's able, or Alio is able to respond. Then it gets back to the original question. Can ask them if they're willing to relocate. Ask them about their eligibility to work. And this is interesting. You can actually ask them questions regarding the job description, perhaps requirements of the job description, in the screening process. So again, you can see Alio throughout the whole process is answering open-ended questions, getting back to the original question if it's not answered. I think we can stop here as far as this demo. Okay, so obviously 2 very impressive chatbots. Here's a couple extra. We might mention TextRecruit, Haley Marketing has a chatbot, and JobPaul. Now these again are among the 19 that are actually listed in that bots tile on ASA's website.